your Wargame European Escalation. Today we're going to be looking at two games on this map. So let's get started. The first one here is a great 1v1 I had with a NATO player who, for once, actually knew what he was doing with his units. So I start off with my normal build. These are ranked games, so they're fairly small. 1500 resource pool, I think. Yeah, 1500 resource pool. So keep that in mind. And my unit build is pretty similar to before. Mainly infantry, some tanks, and dual scouts, and a pair of veteran choppers. I prefer to use the gazelles, but I find that the Russian Hinds do a reasonable job, assuming that they're veteran units, and I always pluck down that US around here with AT-air surrounding it. So once again, these games are pre-recorded so that I have time to just talk about what's going on inside the game, as opposed to actually playing it. Right here, I put my command vehicle in this little, what I like to call the triangle, because it gives the AA guns reasonable amount of viewing distance so that they can fire on enemy choppers, as well as giving the command vehicle reasonable amounts of cover or stealth from the forest. And that's a cool thing I like about that little area of the map. That's where I typically place my command vehicle. And I put my gunship helicopters to go around just to kind of harass them a bit. I should probably switch this to my view. There we go. And I send one UAS down the main road. This is where typically players rush their troops. And I send one around Bravo to see if they have a force coming down from Foxtrot using the winding road to attack us. The bad thing about these Jeep recons that I use is that they don't have a weapon, and I've had multiple times in which I could upgrade the vehicle to one with a little HMG and kind of fight their scout, but at this point I couldn't really do that. And on this map I generally cap Bravo. The 1 point bonus of Charlie doesn't outweigh the reinforcement bonus on Bravo. And I started using these OSA missile launcher troops here. Let's pause the game and look at their stats. So they cost 25 apiece, and I find that they don't really need veterancy. They have pretty low accuracy, but they fire missiles fairly quickly, and unlike the ATGMs, they do not have to keep one in the air before firing another, so I tend to buy two of them. They run out of ammo fairly fast, but it's negligible. And because of the new patch, SAM missiles have AoE damage, so if the enemy has a cluster of gazelles, I find these extremely helpful for their price and taking them out. And what I like to do is to provide both my forces, my advancing force and my capture force in Bravo, with cover, is that I like to put the comms vehicle here and move the anti-air missiles here. It's just so that we can cover Echo as well. That's what I do. Over here I'm bringing my gunships around, going for Echo. What you didn't see is that a squad of Cobras or Apaches, I think, we're going after them too, but I knight them and I still go around. So my plan for this map is that because of these elevations here, I like to keep my large amounts of infantry here just so that they don't know about them behind Bravo, and I like to keep my tanks generally within these trees over here. So somebody raised up the question on how to counter air and RD spam. For air spam, simply buy some of these units, some of the SAM missile units. I think the Americans have the it starts on the C, I think, it does the same row. Chupacabra, I think, maybe, does the similar row, does it pretty well. Tungustas also work, so buy a few of those and your troubles will be gone. What else? Regarding RD spam, the only real thing you can do about it is to bring some gunships in. Normally newer people tend to only buy one squad of 4 anti-air vehicles, and that's about it. And if you have massed air units, it just devastates it. The theory in which of why I split my units into smaller groups is that take a look at how many BMRs there are, or whatever these are called, APCs there are on the field. If you have a group of 4 tanks and you give that order to target one of them, they're going to target one vehicle, and that's going to waste 4 rounds. If I have my tanks grouped in 2s, they're going to shoot 2 rounds at one vehicle. Therefore, if one of those shots hit, then the other one will obviously miss, but what if one shot misses and the other one hits? So wasting 4 shots against one isn't exactly good. I find a nice mix is between 1 or 2 vehicles, 3 for APCs. That's my general philosophy about creating squads, and mostly it's just for the maneuverability. I mean, that's the problem with NATO units, is that they tend to focus on better units. However, people like to concentrate them in groups of 4, and that just defeats the purpose of it, simply because you can't maneuver well with it. And here I received some ATGM fire from these this little forest inside Delta. I know they were infantry, or else I would have spotted them by now. And my airplanes are getting taken out by something in here. I think it was infantry or something. But I tried to attack his self-propelled artillery guns, and the problem with this is that with 2 chopters, you can generally get away with blowing up his little comms vehicle. But against these heavier, let's see if they have armor. Yeah, it has armor on the top. If they're next to the FOB, which they normally are, you're not going to do enough damage to negate the repair rate, so it doesn't work that well. I couldn't find his comms vehicle over here, so that's why I kind of went for that. Now, I can't really get enough troops over there, and wasting my infantry to attack that location isn't exactly a good play, so I decided not to, and I'm going straight for this, because it takes a good level of management to do this infantry rush successfully and efficiently, so I don't want to waste the time going for Delta and letting him flank me. And that's kind of the reason behind that. That's why I kind of moved my units over here where they can't shoot at me from Delta. Most NATO players like to put their comms vehicle inside this little bush here, and it just occurred to me that you can't ever actually switch the positions on the map. You can't ever play NATO in Alpha, and you can't ever play Warsaw Pact in Hotel for some reason. So I guess most people will put it in that bush, and that's why I sent my APCs over there. And what I like to do is that I like to drop them just in front of the troops, so that even if they move back, they're still going to get hit. Like here, right in front of them, I will automatically target the armored personnel carriers, and when you deploy the troops, unless the person manually engages the infantry, they're just going to shoot at the unloaded APCs. And I believe the APCs actually have a cost of 5. Yeah, 5 points. It's very marginal. And one thing I want you guys to take notice of is the score counter right here. Keep in mind that we're playing with a 1500 cap, so every point lost isn't gonna get replenished very fast. And he drives his tanks back. So I see his comms vehicle over here. So I deploy my infantry and try and take it out, and it's gone. And I move my tanks up to this ridge to kind of provide some cover and fire. That's pretty much it. He also has some of these FAMAS troops. These aren't as good as the ones that I use for NATO, but they do the job nonetheless. The problem with these troops is that their size, they have 30 units each in 3 platoons, 10 units for each squad, which is kind of problematic because one HE shot will be able to take out more troops, and all you really want is the rocket launcher inside that squadron. The rifles and the numbers are nice for taking out infantry, but at that point it's really, how many times are you going to fight infantry is my point. Not very much, so I'm just trying to kill them off right now. Bring up the infantry. I want to capture these supply trucks, and it's a good thing he isn't moving them. If one of the things he could have done was evacuate those, and since he left them here, now that I've captured them, I can just resupply myself right on the battlefield. That was one of the things that I really wanted. So that happens. I get my way with that, and now I have a bunch of repaired tanks right next to his base. He does spray in some transport helicopters over here to Alpha, but I'm not sure what happened to them. I didn't actually notice that group while in game, but I really don't know what happened with that. He never actually rushed my base or even tried to go for Bravo, so I don't know. Now after the infantry rushes, there's a period of, you know, putting your troops back on the carts, which is pretty problematic. That was one of the reasons why I didn't go for Delta. There seems to be a delay between loading your units onto the armored personnel carriers, and I bought some more just so that I have more troops to use. And at this point, I don't see any reason to stay in Foxtrot. I mean, I've already pretty much secured the region between Echo and Delta and Foxtrot. Any threat that can be there can be easily eliminated. So I'm going for their base, and at this point I think a surgical strike would be best. Oh, that's why he puts his troops there, so I think no, I ignored that completely. And I always keep the empty ones in front just so that if they shoot at it, I mean, they're getting 5 points and they're dumping ammunition onto it. It's not really worth it that much. So that's why. You can see that the OSAs, they're not really accurate, but they do the job. That's what matters. The only way you can really deal with infantry like this is to just kind of fight them from afar with tanks. Especially those FAMAS troops, though. Yeah, these are the ones that I use, the Cheshire's FAMAS. You just kinda have to sit far and blow them up. I actually spent the time to sit here and completely annihilate the squad from afar. I think it would have been better if I actually just rushed into his base. But no, I sat there, and I took that squad out. What else? I can't really tell you guys how to counter infantry rushes because nobody except for me actually uses this technique. So I haven't yet to fight a player that does it. But I'd assume autocannons would be devastating on the infantry as well as their APCs. So yeah, I guess. And they're still trying to fire on me. There's a tank behind my lines, and it's actually quite an expensive tank, so I got 2 of these squads to go and ambush it. But here's the winning play right here. He's pretty much just drowning on the APCs, shooting at him. I don't know where his comms vehicle is at this point, so I pretty much wanted to take out the troops in the bush. And that's what I do here. Now the infantry have better optics than the APCs, so Once you drop them, you can see more of the area, and I find its comms vehicle here. Normally people don't buy the armored comms vehicles, so if you just hover over the units, it'll show you one with 5 of those white squares. That probably means it's the armored command vehicle. So that's kind of cool. So I'm pretty much just gonna rush that. I know if I take that out, he's gonna lose the game. That's why I do that. That takes him out, and that's GG. And that's the results. It's pretty even match. He had more levels than me and a little bit more ranking points, imaginary points. So this was very even game, both experienced people. And they also have another game here to show you guys. Oh wait, no, this one was the same one actually. Can I exit? Yeah, I believe I can exit. There we go. So for this one, it's a 3v3. I'm playing as Warsaw Pact again. Try to avoid playing NATO. Once again, I put my comms vehicle inside this little triangle. I love this little place. And pretty much same unit composition as before. I'm using these T-72s now. I find their guns are pretty much the same as the base tank, the first one you get, T-65 I think, but they have more frontal armor and side armor, which is the thing I'm looking for. It's also a little bit faster, so it can keep up with the infantry, but the main thing is its speed. It has more side armor than the frontal armor on the on the T-55. No, the T-60, that's the base tank, and that's why I bought them. I bought some T-55s just to kind of cushion out my force and make it look bigger. Once again, I send helicopters from the side, and I get my infantry to hide behind this hill here. Just switch this to my perspective. There we go. This is what I was talking about, how some players just like to push troops into the middle of the map right away. And pretty much, I spread out my tanks, form a line to engage them, and from behind I charge my infantry. Come on game, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. There we go. And he doesn't move his units back, which is the main reason he lost. If he tried to knight my APCs, he had a good chance of winning that, but he gets away with a couple of units. Still, it was pretty decimating for him, and I had to load my units back onto the APCs, which is always a pain. Is the game still going double time? Okay, there we go. Now it's back. I don't know why this guy has his comms vehicle inside the middle of the bush. It just does, I guess. And that infantry rush was actually quite costly for me, but it netted me a good 2,000 points. So it was pretty good in terms of cost. And as always, I'll buy some more APCs eventually. Happened to my helicopters. They were probably taken down somewhere. Yeah, buy some more APCs. And I go for Foxtrot. Surprisingly, he doesn't actually take out that comms vehicle. I think I'd take him out with a rocket eventually. Yeah, there we go. And then goes that. So now I bring in my infantry from the side here, and this is what I typically do on this map. use these as scouts, so he sees them, he blows them up, and this is my main force over here. And I charge him into his, I wanted to control these two forests so that even if he were to resupply his, or reinforce his troops, my infantry would blow him up. See, this is the large wave attacks that I was talking about. His 4 and 3 tanks can only target 1 tank at a time. If he split them up into groups of 2 or even groups of 1, he'd have a much better chance of success with this. This guy's tanks are targeting 2 of his tanks, and notice how both of them are taken out now. So, it doesn't really make sense to put them in such large groups unless you're just moving them around, and even at that, it's still pretty inefficient. And he uses his little recon plan, he can see me. But oh well. Let's just speed this up. So I see him recapping the point here. Whoops. So I drive my infantry out and try to just kill his comms vehicle once again. Some people think that the flak panzers and the AA guns are good against infantry and APCs, but it doesn't work out very well usually. I think in one of the earlier replays, you could see a Tunguska just pounding on one, but it never takes it out. And that's kind of what happens. So once again, I find his comms vehicle. It's super easy once you know that it has 5 hit points. So I pretty much see it, and I charge the squad after it. He doesn't prioritize his targets, so I eventually catch up with the command vehicle. I think these APCs go, yeah, they go near 100 kilometers, so I pretty much just ram him there, get real close to him. I see that he's going next to the road, so I'm gonna have to deploy my troops real fast, or else he's gonna get away. And for some reason he stops and turns, and I think that's what kills him. So there goes the infantry. Shots out. Car is destroyed. And I moved my tanks to support him inside that little area. That's what's happening there. Load up my troops again. And I'm gonna go for Gulf this time since we have troops behind their lines. He sees me with his Leopard 2s, and he's Leopard 2s, and he's chasing me with them. The Leopard 2s they're good tanks. Really expensive though. I don't recommend using them. I'd rather put those points to better use somewhere else. So now he also sees my APCs, and he's gonna try and chase him. Which is alright, I'm gonna try and lose him inside this bush here. Now he can't see me. When this was happening, I thought maybe I should hide in this bush, but then again, he knows I'm here, so he's definitely gonna try and clamp down on me. I could have went around here, but it wouldn't have made much of a difference. So I'm pretty much gonna charge into here and look for that comms vehicle once again. And I found it. This time, I think it was an armored comms vehicle. That's why it had so many, yeah, it was an armored comms vehicle. So I get next to it, drop the troops. He's still shooting at the APCs. Takes it out. And the troops die. They die as heroes though, so it's alright. quite sure how this match ends. I'm not sure how many points it goes up to, so bear with me here. I think I actually just beat them by points, and that's about it. Split up my tanks here into 2 groups of 2. It was a group of 4, and these were the nice expensive ones. That's why I did that. So, here. Those leopard tanks cost quite a large amount of money. So, as you saw there, once I took them out, that was a nice 500 points to the score, and that's just brutal for them. That's one of the reasons I don't buy expensive tanks, actually. It's because once you lose one of them, that costs you a whole heck of a lot, and the game's over because you had some more expensive units. This is the team and all that, and this was when I barely had any ranked games. And that's the score. So that's all for today, and I will see you guys later. Next time we're going to look at some deck composition, and that's pretty much it. So bye bye.